So recently, several people have hit me up because I've lost 40 pounds in 6 months, and people have been curious, like, how are you dropping the pounds? Like, I posted several pictures, and it's piqued people's interest into this, and so I figured I'd make a video instead of having to explain to every person because it's a lot of information. But I'm gonna try to condense it as much as I can. I've been on several programs over the years, over the past decade or so. I've done Whole30 twice, which Whole30 is amazing. And I've done several low carb diets, which I've seen tremendous results from as well. But I'll admit with both, they are not pleasantly sustainable. And the program I'm on now, solely due to my macro coach, Ashley Duncan, shout out to her. This is something that I feel like I could do for the rest of my life. This is so sustainable. It's very practical. If you just follow the numbers and are diligent, you have a high chance of being successful at this. My wife and I are both doing it together, which has been super dope. And we've both seen good results from this thus far. And so I figured, again, I drop in on a video rather than having to talk to everybody about it. So the program that I'm on is called, it's a macro diet. It's called reverse dieting. And I had never heard of this prior to Ashley introducing it to us. And so I'm not an expert at this at all. She's the genius. She knows this forwards and backwards. So if you're interested in doing something like this, I would recommend hitting her up. Because one guy hit me, he was like, man, you can make a lot of money from this. You got results. And I'm like, nah, man, I am a result of her knowledge and her expertise. So I have her information in the description if you're interested. I'm just going to tell you what I've been doing and the results I've been seeing, but hit her up. I don't think I could do this without a coach. So she's been a good coach, and definitely, again, I can't say it enough. I recommend that you hit her up, not me, if you're trying to get on a program like this. So reverse dieting goes like this. So I weighed myself. When I first started, I think I was 252. So technically I lost 42 pounds, I believe. So I weighed in at 252. This was September 30th. And so she gave me a certain number of calories that I needed to eat every day for 1 week. And I believe it was 2,000. So she started me out at 2,000 calories. And so the way I have to eat those 2,000 calories, I can't just eat anything. I can eat what I want, but at the end of the day, everything has to be made up of certain macronutrients. So a certain number of carbs, certain number of fat, and a certain number of protein. And if I can, and she also encourages, it's not required, but she's like, if you can get even a certain number of fiber in as well, then that'll help this thing go all the more better. And so I don't remember what my macronutrients how they were broken down back when I was at 2,000 calories, but I'm at 2,800 calories now. And this is how they are broken down. So I have to eat 244 grams of protein, give or take. So she gives us leniency, 5 under or 5 over, to where I can eat 5 less grams of protein, which would be 239, or 5 more grams of protein if I need it at 249. And then it's 210 carbs a day I have to eat, give or take 5, and then 109 grams of fat, give or take 5. So my fat is my least, and I love fatty foods. This is I feel like has been the biggest struggle, but I didn't realize how much fat played into everything. Like, so because previous diets I've done, you don't even count your fat. It's just long as the carbs are right. But I feel like the problem is it's not sustainable, where the moment you get off of it, you just shoot right back up. And so they all play a role. And again, I'm not an expert, so I don't know what each one does like internally, but I just know these are the numbers I need to hit religiously, consistently, every day. And so I use an app. I use MyFitnessPal, which I was already using before getting on this macro diet. So that's been helpful because I know my way around MyFitnessPal, and I log everything religiously. Like in fact, I usually come up with my food plan for the day. I usually do it that morning, and I usually try to figure out all the snacks I want to eat. Usually I know what breakfast is because I usually, well, except for the past few months, my wife's been making breakfast, but I usually am in charge of making breakfast, and then lunch we're on our own. But dinner is up in the air because it just depends on who. Sometimes, some days I make dinner, sometimes my wife makes dinner, sometimes my daughter makes dinner. So, but I try to leave enough room to where I try to guess what dinner will be like macro wise so that I don't go over. And worst case scenario, like if I'm in a pickle with dinner, then I can just start cutting stuff. Like, all right, maybe I have to eat half a serving of a biscuit or eat 25% of the vegetable serving. And so with MyFitnessPal, I scan everything I can into the app. And you have to be careful when you scan stuff into the app because sometimes what's on the food label is not in MyFitnessPal. Like the numbers will be different sometimes. So you have to pay attention. Otherwise your macros will be off. And then, you may wonder why it's not working. It might be because your numbers are wrong. And so you got to make sure your numbers, you got to be consistent with logging stuff, but you got to make sure you're like consistently fact checking and verifying that everything is correct, which can be hard to do because sometimes like we'll go to restaurants and they don't have, nutrition facts and nutrition info. So you have to figure out, what's a restaurant that's similar to this spot. You might go to like a local ice cream spot and they don't have their nutrition facts. So it's like, all right, is this comparable to McDonald's ice cream or Dairy Queen? You just try to figure it out. And so do that every day. I use a food scale heavy. I don't just go off of, 1 cup or 1 tablespoon. Like I try to get the grams. I try to get down to the grams or the milliliters or whatever. And I like to measure my stuff because oftentimes you realize like, oh, what they say is the serving size isn't necessarily what I get if I just use the spoon or if I just scoop it. Like if you get that food scale, usually you can get a lot more accurate. And you realize, I could eat more food. Like, so it's pretty cool. So you get every Friday is check-in Friday. And I have to like average out my macros, which is easy to do. I have to average out how much protein I had a week, how much fat, and hopefully the numbers are consistent with what I've been given to her given by her at the beginning of the week. I have to also put in like how much fiber I had, how much sleep I got. Water is important. So she encourages us to drink, basically a gallon of water a day to get us 8 hours of sleep, which that's the one I really struggle at. But, I try my best. And then we have to take progress pictures that we have to upload before we can get our new numbers. And so she'll basically look at all the stats and she will determine every week. It's based on several factors, but she'll figure out like basically I think it goes if I'm losing weight every week, and it's not solely off of this, but like if I'm going down on the scale, then she's going to increase my calories by 100. And so every week from September 30th until I reached my peak number, I was losing weight. So every week she would up my calories by 100. So I was going 2,100, 2,200. I got all the way up to 3,100 calories, which that's a lot of protein. Like I was eating like The Rock. Like I was almost eating 300 grams of protein a day, which, I was like, this is a lot of food. But then once I got to 3,100, she was like, all right, let's cap you here. She kept me there for a couple weeks, and then we went backwards. So she started cutting me. Instead of cutting me by 100, she cut me by 300. Now I'll tell you that was a struggle for a little while, but it was cool. I made the adjustment, but she would cut me down by 300 every week until I got down to 1,500. So I was still eating a good amount of food, but not nearly like 3,100 calories. And so, which to be honest, it was easier in some ways to hit those numbers because I didn't have to eat as much. And so I have a goal weight that I have to hit. I haven't hit it yet. So what'll happen is I'll just keep going up and down as she decides for me to do so. So, you know, I might get back up to like I've already went up to my max. I went down to the low 1500. I've went up from 1500 to 2800. So I think it's been 13 weeks that she's been increasing my calories by 100. And then I'll hit this peak number again and she'll cut me down again. And we'll see where I'm at when she cuts me back down to however low she wants to cut me. And if I've reached that goal, then cool, she'll figure out what is the golden number for me to stay at so that I can sustain that weight on the scale. But if I haven't reached that goal, then I'm assuming she'll just increase me and then cut me again if necessary. So, but like I said, this whole time I've been losing weight every week by eating more food. I can eat whatever I want long as the numbers align. So I can eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos and ice cream, but then I gotta figure out, all right, if I eat those things, what else do I have to eat in order to reach the numbers? Because some food will be high in fat, but no carbs. And then it's like, all right, how am I going to reach this number just with carbs? What can I eat, that won't also tilt my fat or my protein over? So it's a numbers game, but it's pretty cool. So I'm really grateful for this program. And like I said, if you're interested in doing something like this, I will hit up Ashley. Again, her information is in the description. If you got any questions for me that I can answer, I'll be happy to do so. Just leave a comment and I will do that. I'll probably post more videos in this lane of nutrition, health journey. So if you're interested in that, like, subscribe so that you get notifications next time I post. Oh, and I failed to mention, I do have to work out every week. So I work out 3 times a week. She gives me a whole set of workouts. Like every day is a different set. And I have to do like 4 or 5 of the exercises 4 to 5 times. And I was doing those wrong for a while. I was embarrassed to ask her. And she told me like, oh no, you're supposed to do them 4 to 5 different times. And I'm like, oh, whoops. And so, but yeah, so that's basically it in a nutshell. Yeah, thanks for checking this video out. And till next time.